A truck can roll into a repair bay, sit there for 4 hours, and leave with the same warning light it came in with, not because the mechanic couldn't find the problem, but because he isn't allowed to fix it. That's happening in bays across the country right now, and most truck owners never find out why. Dale Kessler has run his repair shop outside Toledo for 22 years. 3 years ago, he started posting a sign on his door. "We no longer service post-2017 diesel engines." He didn't lose his skills, he lost access. By the end of this video, you'll understand the system that decided which mechanics get to work on your truck and which ones don't. There are roughly 160,000 independent auto and diesel repair shops operating in the United States. Industry surveys now put the number turning away late-model diesel work at close to 75%. That's not a shortage of mechanics. That's a shortage of permission. Dale's story starts the way most of these stories start, with a customer he couldn't help. A local hauler brought in a truck throwing an emissions fault code. Dale diagnosed the problem in 20 minutes. He couldn't clear it. The software that talks to that engine's control module is locked behind a manufacturer login his shop isn't allowed to hold. The hauler waited 11 days for a dealer appointment. He lost the load contract that paid for the truck. The system behind this isn't a single company or a single bad actor. It's a structure. Emissions certification law, proprietary diagnostic software, and a dealer network built to be the only door in. Each piece exists for a defensible reason. Together, they've built something else entirely, a repair economy where independence is optional in name only. But this is only the surface layer. Dale didn't know, when he taped that sign to his door, that he was standing at the end of a chain of decisions that started 15 years earlier in rooms he was never in. Go back to 2007. Federal emissions mandates forced diesel engine makers to hit sharply lower nitrogen oxide limits. To comply, manufacturers didn't just redesign engines. They knew emission systems needed constant electronic monitoring. That monitoring needed software, and manufacturers made a choice. They kept the software in-house. 3 words, then pause. By 2010, diesel exhaust fluid systems added a second layer, a network of sensors that could shut an engine down to a crawl if the system detected tampering, real or false. Independent shops needed dealer-level software just to read what the truck itself was reporting. Then came the subscriptions. Manufacturer diagnostic platforms that once cost a few $100s a year began running into the thousands per brand, per shop, per year. Dale services 5 different engine brands. He'd need 5 separate subscriptions to keep doing what he's done for 2 decades. 5 logins, 1 shop. Not enough revenue to justify any of them. Dealers, meanwhile, got the software bundled into their existing manufacturer agreements, a cost they were already structured to absorb. Independent shops were never offered the same terms. They were offered the sign-up page. Lawmakers noticed. Right-to-repair bills started appearing in state legislatures through the 2000s and into the 2020s, aimed at forcing manufacturers to sell the same diagnostic access to independents that dealers already had. Most of those bills stalled. But here's what most people get wrong. They assume this is about mechanics losing work. It's about something bigger. Who controls the cost of keeping American freight moving? Here's what locked-out repair actually costs. A single manufacturer diagnostic subscription now runs an independent shop between $8,000 and $14,000 per year. That's before the specialized scan tools, which run another $3,000 to $6,000 per brand. For a shop like Dale's, servicing 5 engine brands, full legal access would cost more than $60,000 a year, more than he pays 2 full-time technicians combined. So shops don't buy access. They turn away the work. And that shifts the cost somewhere else, onto the truck owner. Dealer-only repair appointments now average an 11 to 18-day wait in most regions, according to fleet maintenance surveys. For an owner-operator, a truck sitting idle isn't a maintenance delay. It's a paycheck that doesn't arrive. A parked Class 8 truck costs its owner roughly $1,000 to $1,200 per day in lost revenue. 11 days off the road is more than $11,000 gone, enough to cover a year of health insurance for a trucking family, gone before the repair bill is even written. Dealer labor rates compound it. Independent diesel shops average $135 to $160 an hour. Dealer service departments, insulated from local competition, average $185 to $240 an hour for the exact same repair. That's the counterintuitive turn. The system wasn't built to make repairs more expensive. It was built to make repairs safer and cleaner, tighter emissions control, less tampering, more consistency. Nobody sat in a room and voted to raise your repair bill by 40%. They voted to close a technical loophole. The cost increase was the byproduct nobody priced in, and the byproduct is now the biggest hidden expense in American trucking maintenance. Dale's sign on the door isn't stubbornness, it's arithmetic. He did the math on what dealer access would cost him, and he came up short by a margin no repair shop his size could survive. Multiply Dale's math by 160,000 shops, and you're looking at a repair economy that quietly rerouted billions of dollars of maintenance spending away from small businesses and into a closed dealer network, without a single new law being passed to make it happen. If you've ever waited 2 weeks for a dealer to look at a truck that any competent mechanic could have fixed in an afternoon, you already felt this system before you understood it. You didn't imagine it. You weren't being overcharged by an incompetent business. You were paying the toll on a road that was built to have exactly one lane. Most people assume repair costs went up because trucks got more complicated. That's half true. The other half is that the complexity was paired with a lock, and the lock, not the complexity, is what's driving the bill. Here's what almost nobody outside the industry knows. Manufacturers aren't required to disclose how much of a diagnostic subscription fee covers actual software development versus how much covers market exclusivity. Nobody outside the dealer network has ever seen that number broken apart. Dale's sign on his door isn't a retreat, it's a signal. One that's now going up on repair shop doors from Ohio to Oregon, each one a small local data point in a much larger story most drivers never connect to their own repair bill. Understanding this doesn't fix Dale's shop, but it changes what you see the next time you're quoted a dealer-only repair price with no explanation attached. You're not looking at a repair estimate, you're looking at the cost of a closed door. Which brings us to what happens next. Right to repair legislation is back on the floor in a dozen state legislatures this year, and this time, trucking associations are funding the lobbying effort themselves. If even one of those bills passes with real enforcement teeth, the diagnostic lock that closed Dale's Bay could start to open, not overnight, but brand by brand, subscription by subscription. If none of them do, the trend line is already visible. Fewer independent diesel shops, longer dealer wait times, and a repair bill that keeps climbing every year emissions law tightens further. Dale isn't waiting to find out. He's already decided what he'll do if the law doesn't change by next spring. He's going to take the sign down. Not because the door opened, but because he's not sure how much longer he can afford to keep it closed.